really appreciate every one of us for this opportunity. I'll be speaking about tasking the brain, the task ahead. Let me just state up front that please, you will bear with me. There are some people in my roof and they are doing some roof work. So occasionally, if you hear some hammer sound, we are all safe. Right, so the first thing I'd like to draw our attention to is the fact that we can appreciate that doctors today are endangered species. And that very statement was in fact recently made by the president of the Commonwealth Medical Association, Dr. Sahon Enabulele. This was published in the Punch newspaper of January 28 last year. So we recognize this, that there is today an existential threat against the survival of doctors. So while it is the desire of many to be doctors, there is no doubt that there is such a pathological envy that have raised for doctors a number of obstacles. And that overall, the landscape of health needs and health-seeking behavior requires that doctors can no longer wait for passive patronage, but to develop a system for active engagement. You have just listened to a presentation whereby people can sit in the comfort of their homes and seek consultation. So the fact that they must come to the hospital and to seek you out in particular, there must be a compelling reason. Also, we need to appreciate that we are living in changing times, and we need to appreciate that this current situation, demographics and all of that are changing. Before now, the title doctor is sufficient to guarantee a livelihood, but even this morning as we're speaking, I got complaints about some people who said, oh, they've not been paid their salaries since they have started. And we know that we have encountered such challenges amongst ourselves. But now we must earn that livelihood in a competitive market. And I think it's important to see the forces of competition that are around us. These are the threats that doctors face on the average. In essence, that means that just having our basic qualification, whether as a doctor, as a fellow, or having a title as director, chief medical director, a professor, just all of these by themselves and in themselves, they are not sufficient. And this implies we must have cutting edge or leading edge qualities if we seek to be distinguished. And that is why what we're talking about today, we want to put it the other way around to say that the task ahead is that of tasking the brain, okay? The task ahead is how do we task our brain to think outside the box and to ensure that we have layers of skills that makes us to be relevant, to survive generations, and to still have the fulfillment that we desire, without necessarily just getting distracted by so many other things. But the fact that we still must survive in our generation. So I'll request that a poll should be put up at this point, and please kindly help me to complete the poll. Those who are older and those who know will be able to answer this question. In a moment, I believe that you have done a little bit of processing. You probably have realized that KSA has lasted much longer than SSP. And by the time you start looking at his life, you will see that there's a lot of originality about him. He's been very creative over the years. There is crowd appeal. There is very strong content that he presents. But if you look at Shina Peter's songs, the generational fit Okay, you can imagine that he became relevant that he could even perform with whiskey, that KSA was still there. And the voice in terms of instrument, and of course, he has a global asking after him specifically. Because of that, you can see that he commands a lot of recognition, he commands a lot of fame, longevity, and sustainable riches, okay? So I just need us to see that from the same industry, at the point when they were initially reigning, it was good and they were both reigning in their own prime properly. But you see, one of them reigned longer because of the additions. He's still a musician, okay? But the other one did not have that type of duration of reign. Yeah, though he's still a musician, but the additions, the add-ons that made the other ones to last longer were not in his own category. Permit me to just use this. I mean, we've cited different authors, but let me just quote this from scripture also, that says that in addition to faith, add knowledge. In addition to knowledge, add temperance or self-control. And in addition to temperance, add patience. In addition to patience, add godliness. In addition to godliness, add brotherly kindness. It says, if these things be in you and abound, you shall never be barren nor unfruitful. So we need to see that the things that make people not to be barren or not to be fruitful is the fact that they are able to add onto their life. That is, we are all like a basic shell when we receive our initial medical training, but how long we last and how we survive is based on what we add on to that basic nucleus that has been given to us. And this is the task that the brain has to perform. It's not a long presentation, okay? So if you look at a doctor today, yes, central to his function is direct patient consultation, largely, not everybody, but largely direct patient consultation. But what are the kind of things that we must task the brain with? What are the other things that we must engage in? Yes, we are doctors, but you can see now that we cannot be indifferent to technology. Look at the way technology came upon us suddenly with the issue of COVID, and you can see how people are responding. So like the sick day plus that we have just, that has just been presented to us, several people are coming with one app or the other. Before you know it, patients have been distributed along all of this app. You go to clinic one day and you are wondering where everybody has gone to, okay? So definitely we need to be technologically savvy. Then it could be areas of global health. These are options. These are just from which to choose and to combine. Everybody is equally, we need maybe things in global health, masters in global health, PhDs in global health. This repositions us for longevity as against the only area of our training. We need skills on management. I was privileged recently to undertake a master's in business administration. And it was like, if I had my way, even if it was going to be a 3-month course, I think everybody would have needed to go through this. To even manage your own life, you sort of need that. And as you get to a particular level, you might discover that the conversation that is going on is not just the issue of treatment. There is something about management and taking certain types of management decisions. When I was asked, why did you come for this particular training, registering in school, doing matriculation and becoming a student all over again? And I simply said to the people who were asking me, I wanted to move from guessing, okay, to informed decision. There are many things that I probably did right because it sounded right, but it was more important to know that it was right because you know the principles that were behind it. So these management skills are quite important, and when we are confronted with different types of positions, even from heads of department, directors in ministry, the owner of my own business, private hospital. We need these management skills. We also need things like to be physician executives. So here we have the skills of leadership that can be provided, and we are unique and known for that. There are the whole areas of biostatistics, monitoring and evaluation. These are important skills that help us to be able to interpret data, to be able to see them from the perspective that others are not able to see them, and to be able to track and know when we are succeeding or not succeeding. People who possess such skills, in addition to what they are doing, of course, come with added value. And if there is a need for a selection or consideration, such a person has better chances. There is bioinformatics, the whole area of molecular medicine and all that. We are areas that are open to us to add as layers to our current and basic qualification. So genetics, biomedical research, capacity, and then consulting. And by this, I'm not just talking of consulting for patients. I'm talking about consulting in terms of organizations, in terms of countries, in terms of policy decisions, and how to do that. Consulting is a skill that needs to be understood and acquired systematically. So what we're trying to say is that if we're going to be people who will last much longer, we need to see the ramifications. Sometimes in the search, I remember that when I started, I was on a salary of 377 Naira per month, I won't forget. And I thought, okay, what can I do in order to just add some income? I went after locum, and the place I went to for the first thing they offered me was a 10 Naira per hour locum. And I said to myself, I'm a resident, I will sit down somewhere for 5 hours, I'll get 50 Naira. Yeah, I'm not reading my book, and yet somebody will think I'm doing a serious job somewhere, and all of that is going to be 50 Naira per hour. I had to come back home and then sit down and reorganize and look at it all over again, and then have a different appraisal of what I was going to begin to do thereafter. So it's not just even from the point of income, we're talking about the point of relevance, we're talking about the point of lasting much longer in life. So let's understand that today, to just have a basic qualification is not sufficient. Forget all the politics around issues. We need some top-up skills that make us to have a product that we're offering, and that is the task that is ahead of us. Well, the question is how. I think it all starts from having a personal vision. You just need to begin to envisage and to see the space that is ahead of you beyond whatever space you are currently occupying. For some, all that we are seeing is maybe our local institution and all that. We need to begin to see what is potentially possible beyond our local circumstance. Then we need to put in effort. Nothing comes easy. I have a young daughter at home who just by herself went on the internet, connected with some lectures from Harvard, and has been able to do some Harvard lectures. I was pleasantly surprised when I came around and then I saw her drawing. I have never known her to have a drawing skill. Okay, artistic drawing. I've never known her to have that. I have it as her father, but I've never known her to have it. And then what happened? She said she went on the internet and there was a site where they were teaching them how to draw. And she started drawing professionally, all just within the space of about a month. So we need to put in effort to appreciate maybe what is lacking and therefore to concentrate on that. Explore your opportunities. Okay, at every point in time, we have one opportunity or the other. The opportunity in the Ministry of Health may be different from the opportunity in the teaching hospital, may be different from opportunities in the private setting, but each one comes with its own opportunity. We need to explore that opportunity. Then take on assignments and submit to someone who has what you are looking for. Several times, the way up is by service, okay? And it may be somebody else who begins to challenge us and gives us a particular type of task. And in the process of trying to address that task, you will discover that the skill you have picked up is actually to your own advantage. Then look out for short-term focused training that may be able to add something onto us that extends our boundary. You can have online courses, you can have masters, you can have PhDs. All of these, the essence is not the certification, but the issue is that when you're under a structured learning, you tend to have the opportunity for the acquisition of a particular skill, okay? You will need the wise use of TV and internet. There's almost nothing you want to do today that you cannot find on the internet. You can organize a class, join a course, do all of those things, and be training and getting yourself exposed, even if money was a major limitation or other external opportunities were a major limitation as of today. So look at them, even crime scenes, FBI files, emergency room. You know, these are all things that extend people's skills beyond the ordinary, beyond the regular areas, okay? Then investment in networking. So sometimes we pay our money to attend conferences and all of that. I'm happy somebody like my big brother, Dr. Edowu Olanrewaju, is online. I remember, and I look at him, and from where he stands, the kind of investment that I'm aware he made in, you know, networking and in joining some important societies. And I mean, without saying what, there is an advertisement here, we all can appreciate the quality of practice of that hospital. So most importantly, we should have a product. If you are where you are by privilege, don't relax. What you need more importantly is to have a product. Is there a product that compels people to be directed to you? Is there a unique skill? Is there a particular type of competence that if they are searching out somebody, they are likely to come to you? This is why in each of our disciplines, I will counsel that we have a unique skill, an instrument that we can use, okay, that somebody knows us that, yes, this is the go-to person when it comes to this. And if it's not going to be medical, can it be another related skill? So ask yourself, what do I have that can direct people to me? Okay, so that's why I say you need a product or products. So let it not be that I'm only in my positions as a matter of privilege. And there are some things that, supposing they sack everybody today, okay, what am I going to live on? What do I have to sell? What do I have to offer? Those are the questions that will be guiding us to ensure that we are not laid bare in our lives, okay? And that is why we're saying we need to task the brain in order to engage in the task that is ahead by doing all of this that we're talking about. Okay, so think about certain things, for instance, that can guide us. Efficiency, okay? After some time, you will understand, do I need ownership versus rental, sole proprietorship versus collaboration? If you go to some countries overseas now, you will discover that many of them no longer run a restaurant within their hotel, okay? So what they have is a breakfast corner, because what they've done is that you will see a cluster of hotels, but in that cluster, you also see clusters of restaurants. So they have sort of calculated and asked themselves, keep running this restaurant, okay? Or Do I just offer my basic hotel services and be good at it? And anybody can just step to this restaurant that is within a 5-minute walk, and then they have the type of meal that they want. And those restaurants, because they are concentrated on just food, they offer the best that anybody can get. And then the waiting time is very short because there is a large volume of people that is coming and they're able to respond much faster. So ownership versus rental, sole proprietorship versus collaboration. To end medical tourism, can we put resources together? And then we need to have something called a balanced investment portfolio. There are some investments that are high risk. There are some investments that are low risk. Depending on who you are, you might be able to, you may say you are risk averse or something like that, but what the economists and all of those people advise, or financial experts advise, is for you to have a balanced investment portfolio. So don't invest in only one thing. That's the summary of it, because one policy can finish a particular line of investment. Look at what COVID did to people in hospitality industry. Nobody envisaged that. So wherever it's possible, divest into unrelated issues, such that if anything should happen along one line of investment, you still have another line of investment in order to be able to cope. Okay. So in my conclusion, the question is, which type of doctor do you want to be? A local doctor or a global doctor? A one-season doctor or an all-season doctor? A doctor that is limited or a doctor that is unlimited? You are what you do and not what you say you will do. And I want to charge us to invest our lives and time very wisely. Thank you very much.